Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at a lot of AI semiconductor news. Nvidia just made an acquisition of a pretty cool AI company that I'm pretty sure no one's talking about, but I believe it does have some nice growth opportunities and does showcase what Nvidia is planning to do with all the cash it has at hand. But before we get started, make sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe button, as this is going to be the best place you're going to find any semiconductor and AI news. Also, check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose, 50% off my earnings ebook, which is already covering over 30 companies right now, with more getting updated. And more importantly, I just did a revamp to my overall semiconductor newsletter. You're not going to want to miss it. It's completely free, and the link is down below. Now, let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so I mentioned we're going to learn about Nvidia, but I think the Nvidia ecosystem is so big that we have to learn and kind of discuss the competitors as well. So the first thing we're going to learn about is AMD. So AMD was down roughly 2% on the day. Unfortunately, AMD did slip, as Amazon executives say that the company is not yet seeing heavy demand for AI chips. And the reason this was a question, because AMD has their own AI chip line, the MI300, the upcoming MI325X. The MI300 and the MI325, the MI300 is being offered in some cloud server providers. It's being offered in Microsoft, it's being offered in Oracle, and it's being offered, not offered, but Meta uses it as well. Those are the only really top three big players using the MI300X. So one of the bullish cases for AMD is when other cloud server providers adopt it in forms of the big tech space. Amazon right now is saying that they are not seeing demand, so this kind of continues to showcase the weakness of how AMD is nowhere near Nvidia. And while I believe this is true, I've always said that AMD is nowhere near Nvidia and AMD is not the next Nvidia. I personally believe AMD is sitting at attractive levels because the opportunity for growth is pretty strong here, even if they only take single market share in this evolving AI space. The reason I say that, we're going to discuss later on, that there is a huge investment growth coming into data center solutions, and in a supply constraint space, AMD can still benefit. I did mention at the beginning of the episode that I did revamp my overall semiconductor newsletter. Make sure to check it out. The link is down below. But I'm covering a lot of companies, and it's about like a 6-minute read, and you get to learn about different things impacting the semiconductor market. So make sure to check that out. Now, before we go on to some more AI news, I want to move into the semiconductor a little bit more. So Qualcomm right now, we can see in the past 5 days is pretty much flat, but from its 5-day peak, the stock is down roughly 3%. For those that are not familiar, Qualcomm has kind of two main markets. It has kind of the processors that it sells, like the Snapdragon, that it sells on phones and laptops as well nowadays, but it's also very strong in the mobile communication products. And one of their big customers is Apple, where this company reportedly gets around 20% of its total revenue. It's no surprise that Apple has been working on trying to remove its dependency of Qualcomm, very similar to how Apple did with Intel, and recent rumors mentions that Apple is now getting ready to kind of shift over and start this 3-year modem rollout in bid to top Qualcomm. So based on reports, it seems like Apple is ready to switch, but they're not going to switch right away, right? They're going to start with their lower and mid-tier systems at first, and then as they continue to evolve in this product, it's going to move on to the higher tier systems. So I'm pretty sure Qualcomm is going to want to discuss this during upcoming presentations, and it's probably going to be a Q&A session for Qualcomm in its upcoming earnings next quarter. So Qualcomm, definitely in my opinion, a cheap stock right now. Obviously, the hurt and pain of Apple, of potential revenue loss, is going to be something that could affect the stock price and could give us even better buying opportunities. While I don't own Qualcomm, I think this is one we should definitely take a closer look into. Now, we're going to move into finally some semiconductor and AI news. So reportedly, the data center investments will increase roughly 30% to $463 billion next year, based on the United States Del Oro Group forecast. So that is huge, right? 30% year-over-year growth means that there are going to continue to see huge investments in AI chips, in AI solutions, and power solutions. So anybody that's dealing in the AI market is going to be able to kind of benefit in gains. Hopefully. Right now, obviously, Amazon and Nvidia is the one dominating with AI GPUs, so they're going to be a big player here. But about half of global data center investments next year is coming from Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. So these are the top big players, right? So that means that the other 50% are coming from other non-big player companies. Talking about the AI space, the New York Times had an event in the past few days, and I personally want to say the best way to learn about the AI market is learning from some of these top CEOs. And they had a lot of different people and a lot of politicians in this event that I could care less about. But 3 interviews that I want to personally continue to listen to throughout this weekend is going to be one, Sundar, which is the CEO of Google. I'm halfway in there, and you get to learn a lot more about the AI space, what we expect up in the upcoming years. Jeff Bezos, I believe he talks more about space here, but I'm going to guess we're going to hear something about the AI market as well. And then obviously Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. So if you have time, definitely check out those interviews, as I'm pretty sure they're going to give us some nice nuggets about the overall AI market. Next, we're going to start getting closer to Nvidia, and this is a huge Nvidia partner. So Super Micro was up roughly 6.7% on the day. The stock is just ripping it right from its overall low. The stock is up over 100%, 136%, and now year to date the stock is up 53%. So Super Micro has been hit with a lot of issues with delays in its financial reports. We've also seen Ernst & Young leave the company as their auditor, but recently they kind of started to give good news. So first, what I want to mention is Super Micro's CEO did tweet on December 5th that they are there to support xAI's massive tenfold expansion of the colossal supercomputer with over 1 million GPUs. So we talked about this, I think 2 episodes ago, that xAI is going to be building a huge supercomputer. And those were based on reports, but now we can really see some true confirmation that that we're going to see 1 million GPU clusters. And again, xAI is not the only computer AI company out there. There's going to be massive investments like this. I'm going to guess from OpenAI, from Anthropic, from Microsoft, from all these other players as well. So the demand for high amounts of AI GPU clusters is still going. And when I originally heard 1 million GPUs, I'm like, 100,000 GPUs seem insane, but xAI did it. Now they're going to do it with 1 million GPUs. And I think this is definitely going to be an amazing time for Nvidia. Now, the second thing that Super Micro did announce on December 6th is that they received a letter from the NASDAQ stock market informing that the company did get granted the request for an extension for it filing its financial reports. It has now until February 25th of 2025 to file the annual report. And the company currently expects to file all the required by that date. Now, obviously, we are hearing some great news impacting Super Micro, but at the end of the day, we still have to understand, why did Super Micro's audit resign on August 30th, right? Why did Ernst & Young, one of the big 4, I believe, resign as an auditing due to integrity concerns? So something to keep an eye out, something to remember, but at least right now we are getting more bullish sentiment for Super Micro. At the end of the day, not a stock I personally would like to own. Staying here with the AI server market, HPE, another kind of competitor to Super Micro, recently reported earnings, and they mentioned that revenue exceeded expectations on AI server momentum. So I actually did not see how HPE stock did. Let's take a closer look. The stock was up 10% yesterday after reporting earnings with a market cap of $31 billion. So we can see that there is this excitement still for the AI market. Now, continuing this AI investments, and you might be wondering, Jose, all the companies here I haven't heard anything about Nvidia. And this is the thing, right? Because all these are customers to Nvidia, it's important to understand how the ecosystem is going. Not every news has to say Nvidia in it, but if we're seeing huge demand from XAI, if we're seeing Super Micro seeing strong demand, if we're seeing HP seeing strong demand, if we're seeing data center investments go up, at the end of the day, the road leads to one place: AI chips, and that AI chip is most likely designed by Nvidia. Now, staying up here, AI startup Cohere and CoreWeave plan a multi-billion-dollar data center in Canada. So they're going to be building a massive AI data center. Again, continue to see this huge investment. Now, what I really wanted to discuss in this article is the Canadian government will support Cohere with about 170 million of dollars in funding as part of its 2 billion Canadian dollar sovereign AI compute strategy. So this is another reason why we're going to continue to see heavy investments in AI, because every country has some form of incentive like this, or some of the top countries have incentives like this that are going to help invest more into AI solutions. So now this is kind of this tailwind that allows more spending in the AI space. Now, let's really talk about the big dog in town, Nvidia. So Nvidia unfortunately was down to 1.8%, but the stock is doing great. I mean, sitting back over 140 after getting down to like 130s earlier in or late November after reporting earnings. As I mentioned, after earnings report, the stock, I believe, is doing amazing, right? Not the stock, the company itself is doing amazing. So overall, long-term bullish on Nvidia. Short-term, I always mention anything can happen. Now, one thing that was pretty interesting is Nvidia alone earned 63% of combined third quarter net profits of the world's 10 leading semiconductor companies. I think that's insane. Now, we did talk about sovereign AI, and I think we talked about it yesterday or 2 days ago, how Nvidia was building a research and development facility in Vietnam. Well, there was also some updates in Thailand. So CEO is just meeting with all types of politicians and world leaders because he wants to make sure he sells his product everywhere, as we have this sovereign AI and every country needs to innovate in the AI market. The Prime Minister of Thailand and Vietnam met CEO, and we saw yesterday that Vietnam is opening up a research development, NVIDIA is opening up a research and development center in Vietnam. Now we're also seeing that NVIDIA made an acquisition of VinBrain, a health technology startup founded by Vingroup, one of Vietnam's largest public companies. And this is an AI company that's just focusing on kind of using AI models to deploy things like detect abnormalities and accelerate time to make diagnosis in sickness via being X-rays, being blood tests, medical images, and more. And while this is not something that, in my opinion, will drive the stock price up right now, as it's such a small company, we discussed NVIDIA's CFO comments a few days ago, where she mentioned that first they're going to focus on research and development. Then they're going to focus on making new market opportunities via market acquisitions. And I think this is what's happening here. NVIDIA wants to expand the AI market into the healthcare, and we're seeing that already, but they want to do it as quickly and they want to expand as much as possible. So the best place for them to do it is buy these companies that are using AI in the healthcare space, so they can see and learn in a front row view of how they can make their products even better, on what type of models they can do here. So this is one of those things that is very small, but if they find some crazy breakthrough, it can expand and blossom into something amazing. I think the healthcare market is going to be a big opportunity for NVIDIA. And I believe later in December or in January, NVIDIA is going to have a conference where they're going to discuss more of their healthcare solutions. So that's pretty much all I have. Obviously, everything right now is still trending in a nice positive direction for NVIDIA, but that doesn't mean NVIDIA's stock price is going to go up every day. I don't really care what the stock price does. What I'm doing is every single day, I want to learn more about the AI market. I want to be able to add more evidence to my briefcase or my thesis of the AI market evolving. Eventually, we might see maybe some slowdown here, but at least right now, we're seeing that the long-term thesis for Nvidia is still here. And as a long-term shareholder, that's what I like to do. Like I mentioned, even though AMD is no Nvidia, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I think these prices are pretty attractive. I'm personally gonna be buying and have been buying in the past few days as well. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.